Early detection was very important for my breast cancer journey because actually a year ago today, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I went in for just a regular mammogram and didn't think too much about it because I'd had mammograms and starting at 40, I'm 48 now and 47 at diagnosis. And I knew that it was important to do. I really didn't have a history. There were no reasons for me to think I might have any kind of cancer. And I just felt like it was important, though, to do the screenings. And I went in and I'd had follow-ups before because I had a lot of density and sometimes they had to do ultrasounds for that. So I'd been in before and didn't think too much of it then when they asked me to come back for an ultrasound, that they thought they saw a little something. And then it kind of went from there. I didn't know of any family history. I had a great aunt, but really that wouldn't have made much difference, which is what I found out from genetics. I had a grandmother with lymphoma, but not breast cancer. So, and a grandmother with a different kind of cancer, colon cancer. So I guess I knew that screenings were really important. It's just something that I felt like I should continue to do. I love the way that the cancer team does this because they meet with you when you have to do the biopsy. They're really good about having a team around the patient. And so Shelly met with me and was able to talk about the fact she has a nice little book, very good about educating the patients on what goes on and talks all about what levels of things are, what the biopsy looks like, and what next steps will be. And so I know for myself and my family, that was really important to know what might happen, but know that we'd face whatever came. I got the phone call and Dr. Ferris was amazing and said, "You do have breast cancer, Carissa." And we'd known each other since we were little. So it was really interesting in that fact too. But she said, now all of a sudden everything's going to be fuzzy and you're not going to remember anything I say. You're going to have all sorts of questions, just so you know. She said, but I need you to come in this afternoon and we're going to talk a little bit about what we do now. And I think the most comforting thing from that meeting was being prepared because we had met already to know kind of what next steps would be, as well as the fact that Dr. Ferris said, okay, this is going to be a process and you need to grieve. This is a new thing. It's a hard thing. It's going to be a hard thing. You go back, cry, get mad, and then get ready to fight. And I didn't know how much that was going to impact me. And it really did stick with me because I felt like my grieving process then went pretty quickly and I was ready to accept it and move on to whatever I needed to do. So I became a patient at the Morrison Cancer Center. I had already met with Dr. Ton in the process of when you meet with the team. And Dr. Kelly was here at the time, so I'd at least met them and then the OT just to kind of tell me about the process of what would happen. I was surprised that each step along the way, how much support I had from medical professionals to the community to all of our family and friends. Mary Lanning has such a good team of people that come together. And like I said, from the very get-go, even for my biopsy at the center, they talked me exactly through what would happen and how it would go. So I knew every step of the process. The patient portal has been really good for me to get results and read things and understand things. The notes are very clear on there, so I could go back and look at that. Knowing that the team was meeting and talking about what I needed to have done from the surgery all the way to the chemo to the radiation is really comforting. The nurses were always fabulous, and some of my favorite people are the front people that check us in, who visit and make you smile and feel like so comfortable, I guess, when it's really scary to be in there. And even talking to other patients, that happened for me sometimes. I like to visit, and maybe sometimes when I'm nervous or when I feel like someone else might be nervous and I've gone through the process, I was very lucky. I had a lot of peace through the process. And I felt like I could share that with other people too. As far as the getting your first mammogram, I think it's really important to know you shouldn't guess what it'll feel like or what it will be like, because I think a lot of people assume they'll know, and it's really a simple process and hadn't bothered me at all the whole time I had done it on a yearly basis. But probably one of my favorite things on the journey for me is I have a good friend who had some history of cancer in her family, and she's always been afraid of having any kind of a mammogram. And she told me right after the diagnosis that she had scheduled hers, and she went in and got hers. And then she said, of course, that was so easy. Why did I wait? So I thought that was great that she'd gone in and done that, and it was good for her. I think it's really interesting too, in talking with people, how many people have had biopsies and probably just don't talk about it. So mammograms really do catch things quite early. And there's a lot of times, you probably know a lot of people in your life that have actually gone through a second mammogram or an ultrasound or a biopsy that that it was benign or they didn't find anything, but at least they have the peace of mind and they went early to catch that. So I think that's also really important on early detection.